I'm Dan. Thanks for checking in on what's going on in Dimgaard this week. So, we're in the middle of the holidays, we're right between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and started a new campaign. And so that new campaign had five players, has five players, and then things happen. We're adults with obligations, and more than half the players couldn't make it this past Monday, so we had to cancel, or I guess postpone, I guess is a better word, because we're going to present the same session just next Monday. Anyway, it brought up the thought that another one of those topics that you're going to encounter when you're playing D&D 5th edition, and it's not really being addressed anywhere else. So, and that's what do we do? What is our policy on attendance? What is our attitude towards when people can't make it? So at the two extremes, you can be extremely flexible or extremely accommodating, or you can be extremely intolerant and rigid, and there are reasons for both of those, right? Like there are reasons for both of those. So if you like, I've been a part of lots of groups, and I've had and I've been the DM, like some of my groups at times, where attendance is mandatory. It's like, I need this. We want this group to be focused on this story. We're going to continue it every week at this time. You are making that commitment, and that could be a 4-week commitment. It could be a 6-month commitment, right? But when we're signing up to this, we are engaging in this idea that we're all going to be doing this together at this time. And then at the other extreme, I have now both of my games, both my Monday and Tuesday night game that I run, attendance is completely flexible, right? I want players to enjoy it, and I have structured these campaigns so that players can drop in and drop out. So I have players who attend less than half of them, and then I have players who are there every single week. And so that I don't have a particular attitude towards which of those is best for you, right? But you do need to make that decision, right? And part of that is what it is you are hoping to accomplish with your game, right? So if there's a particular content, like you're like, no, I've got this adventure that I'm wanting to present, or I'm wanting to play in, and I'm really wanting to get through it, right? Like I want, and so and in order for that to happen, we really need, we need 5 players plus a DM every week, and we really want that. We really want to get that happen, and we need to be really disciplined in making sure everyone shows up. That's a very valid approach, right? It's a very valid scenario, and on the other hand, if you're like, no, this is really just sort of a casual matter of relaxation, right? It's it's a distraction from the difficulties of our daily life, and we don't want to put that stress of required attendance upon them. That's also a very valid approach to session management as far as attendance goes. I will tell you that I am very happy with my approach. So what I do is I structure my campaigns like this is now just a matter of Dimgaard strategy as far as preparing and publishing the content. So to be, I can run it with one-on-one, like if I just have one player, but in general, right, what I like to have is at least 3 players. And once we get over over 6, things get it begins kind of herding cats. So that's my goal, right? Is each week to have 3 to 6 players, and because requirements is not mandatory, right? The reality is that we're going to have some no-shows each week, right? And so I tend to have a bench of about 7 or 8 players that are all participating in the campaign, and then out of those 8 players, I'm going to get 4 or 5 pretty much every week, and then every now and then all 8 will show up, and then it's like herding cats. But yeah, that's okay. It's okay to herd cats every now and then. And so that brings up the question of, so if you're going to be extremely rigid as the manager, usually it's the DM, but it could be a player who's managing the session. And it's like, no, we want absolute attendance, and if you're not going to do that, then what you need to have is a replacement queue of that you want at least a couple of people in there, where it's like, yeah, this person is not showing up on time, and is not showing up, and we're going to bring in another player to take their spot. There's going to probably be some ruffles, some feathers ruffled in that process, right? But if that's what you're going to do, if you're going to maintain that discipline with your game, then you have to be ready to ruffle those feathers, right? So look, whenever we agreed to start this campaign, we all agreed we're going to show up on time. You're not showing up on time. I can put you back in the queue so that if we get an opening where someone, you can come back in and maybe have a better experience now, than that you really do understand that we are enforcing attendance in this campaign. But I've never, so I've, over the past several years, I have had campaigns where I did rigidly enforce attendance, and that is just the case. You're going to ruffle some feathers, and if on the other extreme, if you're going to be very flexible in your attendance, there are some things you need to be aware of too. So first of all, shuffling in PCs in the middle of an adventuring day is very problematic, right? Like a new PC coming in late in the adventuring day with the full complement of resources, it undermines the expectations that you're up, right? So the adventuring day, you're operating under this idea that as the day goes on, resources are going to be depleted. And if a PC is joining the middle of the adventuring day, it hasn't had those first 2 or 3 encounters and hasn't expended those resources, then it just really undermines that entire concept. Similarly, whenever you are planning out the encounters for the day, you're going to be balancing that around a certain number of PCs, right? And a PC leaving halfway through an adventuring day becomes a problem for those later encounters, because now you've got to readjust those for a different number of PCs. So there are 2 things that I do, and I'm very accommodating of absences, but I'm not tolerant of late arrivals, right? So if you can't make it, that's fine, right? But we will have the session without you. You can rejoin on an evening when you can, but no, you're not going to come in, an hour in whenever we are, 2 or 3 encounters into the episode, into the session. That just doesn't work. It just becomes unmanageable. How do I explain your arrival at this late date into this context of the story? How do I adjust the encounters for the fact that you're coming in late with your full complement of the day's resources, right? That's just untenable. So I just do not do that, and I do not recommend, you tolerate late arrivals, right? You either be there on time or don't come at all, but don't come late. And then the other thing is every episode ends with a long rest. It's the end of the adventuring day, and that means that the next session begins having completed a long rest, and we can start off on that one. And then Dimgaard adventures are structured in that manner, so that it's a series of episodes that correspond to roughly 3 to 4 hours of play, and all of them end on a long rest and begin having completed a long rest. So there's probably some things about attendance that I have overlooked, because this is just, I'm pulling these from my experiences regarding absences. And these are both online games and in-person games. And so if you have some thoughts on attendance and experiences you've had regarding, attendance in a weekly game, please share those in the comments. I read all comments. I reply to as many of them that look like they are right for comment. I don't comment. I don't issue a reply just to issue a reply. I try to add to the value of the conversation there. But yeah, it is really good whenever people have relevant comments. I enjoy them and read them all. If you find this discussion or this presentation helpful, please leave a like, and feel free to share it on any of your social media channels. That's always a nice thing to see. And you can subscribe to this channel. And my goal is to put out a relevant topic every week, preferably every Friday, that will help us in being better D&D players. So thanks for checking in, and I will see you the next time around.